Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Somebody say good afternoon. Hey, there.
It's Monday.
Yeah, I know it is. And the Bengals lost. I get it, but we're starting to move on to the next week now. Right? We're starting to feel normal again.
All about sports again.
You're right there, right? Those two are bad influence on me. It is all them. It's not me. Appreciate everybody's time. Be respectful of your time. There's one topic on tonight's agenda, and that's to begin the engineering design process of the health center and the OhioMeansJobs sites. Most people probably don't know everybody here, so let's take this quick second, just introduce yourself and what your role is while you're here. I'm Tracy Lower, Superintendent.
Larry Kozlowski, Associate Principal, 6-12.
Luke Cox, Facilities Transportation.
Jill Collinsworth, Director of Curriculum and Technology.
Ben Grayson, Systems Engineer.
Todd Wells, Board Member.
Gar Shanklin, Director of Communication.
Evan Kelsey, VSWC Architects.
Chris Dunford, VSWC Architects.
Morgan Miller, Director of Population Health School Program at Children's Hospital.
And John Fry, the grant author.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Perfect. And everybody comes in at like different points of your knowledge base of the grant, the program, where we've been. So if I'll take a good time, take a few seconds, let's level set where we've been, where we are, and hopefully where we're going. So I've asked John just to compile a few slides, and John, if you could, just kind of take us through this.
I will do that. Really, this is just a conversation to share with you how we got to this point from 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we received a Stronger Connections grant as part of our CCIP. It was designed to build a stronger connection with our community, mostly around mental health issues, because at that time, mental health in the state of Ohio was big, but it was also a very important issue in our community as we've gone through several tragedies, suicide attempts, successful suicides, and then some serious tragedies in the community. And we entertained 1 in 5 to come into our district and do some surveying of our community and surveying of our kids and our staff. So we felt as though that was the focus, should be the focus of our Stronger Connections grant. The initial grant that we started, that I was in pursuit of for a partner, was a 50-50 match from the Appalachian Region Commission. The 50-50 match would require the health provider, the health partner, to provide the resources as the match because the district didn't have the resources to provide such. A local healthcare provider was approached to partner with us. They had previously partnered with Williamsburg and Felicity, and I thought there might be a real good chance that they'd partner with us as well to cover the southern portion of Claremont County, but they turned us down.
Thank goodness they did.
Thanks goodness they did. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Morgan. A second provider was approached and there was interest, and we began meeting with, I thought it was a fairly large group in the high school conference room with Children's Hospital representatives. We explored information, we exchanged data, and they believed at that point in time that the potential for this partnership was favorable. So at that time, then we needed to come back and meet again and explore possible spaces that we could utilize in the district. And at this point in time, we're still only dealing with a school-based health clinic. Okay. What we looked at we looked at 3 locations. In the high school, we looked at the former guidance offices. These are just snapshots of the area. It's an area that was with small offices, no water, no sewer, and access to such would be impractical and pretty destructive. We'd have to cut across the hallway, the terrazzo hallway, across the classroom wing that doesn't have a lower level or a crawl space under it to get to the current art room to access water, and then we'd have to access sewer at another place. It was really deemed to be impractical, but it was really going to be destructive to the main hallway in the high school office. But we looked at it and we looked carefully, and it had space that could have worked. We also looked at the New Richmond High School teacher lunchroom, which is centrally located down near the cafeteria and gymnasium and concession stand. You might remember that spot. It was a very small spot, 600 square foot. It had one potential evaluation room. It had a restroom. It didn't have much more space than that. But it was also centrally located, which would have been problematic with the number of visitors that might have been in and through the building. They'd have to come in the main entrance and have to go all the way down to that location. And we didn't want that kind of traffic among our high school students on a school day. And then we looked at the central office area, and this particular area is, this is where we all came in, and this is where we're sitting. But we all, people would come in, have to walk down this hallway, turn left, go down this hallway to a space back here against the back wall, which used to be a home ec room, was a transitions classroom for the last several years. It has water, it doesn't have sewer, we'd have to tap into sewer. It's problematic in that it's a 7 to 10 minute walk from the middle school and high school, unaccompanied in inclement weather, kids not feeling well, kids who may be dealing with some depression and mental health issues are making that trek from the campus up the drive down here to get to this location. We didn't think that that was really an ideal situation for us just because of the distance and the problems that it created. So what happened then after that was the Ohio Facilities Construction Committee, or Commission, announced a new grant. And it was an $89 million grant initiative for the 32 county region of the Appalachian region, of which we are the westernmost county in that 32 county area. This competitive grant relies on partnerships with the community and powerful connections that they're expecting between schools and community to develop health, education, and workforce development. We are so excited to have received $711,000. I think there were 12 grantees in that program. We're the smallest. We're the most proud, but we're the smallest. There are $15 million buildings going up in some of the other 11 districts, health centers and other facilities. But we're extremely excited to have that $711,000 grant. What is it? It's a three-legged stool. The education piece is our 612 building. It's workforce development. It's also healthcare. The three components added a new space requirement because we've got the school, we needed that workforce development piece, and we needed the healthcare piece. Consequently, the former guidance suite, those small offices at the end of the administrative office, was really deemed to be a very nice place for the workforce development office out of Claremont County. So the OhioMeansJobs group out of Claremont County have agreed to a partnership, and they're going to staff that particular office area and make do with what's there with a refresh, which is really exciting. But we needed to have a clinic. So given those three options that I presented earlier, and knowing that the guidance suite might have been the best of the three options, but now it's taken, the administrative team looked at that and made a recommendation to the Facilities Commission or Committee as to a more favorable option that was able to serve the middle school and the high school on the main campus. And it was a computer storage room that was Ben's office. Our network manager lived in that office, and we managed our computer hardware and inventory there. And it's centrally located in the middle school, just across a quick walk from the high school. Ben has already been relocated. All of his materials and supplies and surplus equipment has been relocated. The space is now open. The location then, you can see where this is the location. It has an outside entrance, and that is what it looks like. The next slide shows you what it will be. It's a 1,400 square foot facility with
options that are available. We had to, as part of the grant submission, contract for concept drawings that could be presented to the Ohio Facilities Commission so that they could check our math, check our dollars, check our projections. So we entertained VSWC to do that, and Evan and Chris and that team there helped us with the concept drawing. To the right, you can see in the red print, direct access to the middle school students through the protected hallway. This particular area here is the main hallway of the middle school. So there'll be a hallway that goes to a locked, protected access to the lobby to the clinic. Over here's the high school. Kids come out the east door, go to the crosswalk, and cross the parking lot to enter the lobby, again, through a controlled access point. When kids leave the clinic at the high school and are referred to the school-based healthcare clinic, secretary at the high school will telephone the receptionist that they're on the way, and they'll have about 5 minutes to get there. Okay, so that's the concept in the location it is, and it'll serve grade 6 through 12. That's a rendering of what the new entrance might look like, and that would be the reception area. That particular door over the young lady's head is the controlled access point for the middle school. Middle school kids don't have to leave the building. Middle school kids will access the clinic and be referred to the school-based clinic, and we'll call down and say, little Johnny's on his way. The clinic is expected to have a general reception area, unisex bathroom, 3 examination rooms, a swing room, and storage for their equipment and supplies. 1,400 square feet within steps of the high school. We believe the high school kids are responsible enough to get there in that short distance, and we'll do our best to call over and make sure that they do. Parking spaces for parents who want to come and meet their children or bring their children from our elementary schools will be designated right outside that entrance. It's really a nice location. Where will the BWC workforce development offices be? They'll be established in the former guidance wing. Remember that we transformed the old graphic arts classroom to the new guidance suite, and we use wellness funds and wellness grant funds to afford that. The Claremont County office, Butler, Warren, Claremont Workforce Development Office, who manages the OhioMeansJobs program, will be served in the old guidance suite. This is a rendering of the entrance to the high school office. We've got to make some modifications to the entire wing because we've had some administrative structural change, and we have to add an administrative office to the main office. And in doing so, we wanted to make sure that we made some modifications to the main entrance that allows the secretary to have visibility to the 2-step entrance and all the cameras and so on. So that's what it looks like. Changes in the main office, minor reconfiguration with the consolidation of services. Anybody that landed in the old guidance suite has been relocated. A secured outside entrance will be created in the Workforce Development OhioMeansJobs office. And that's a little bit of a shift from our previous planning, but that outside secured entrance will need to be incorporated into the plan, and that's to keep that population separated from our high school. The OhioMeansJobs piece addresses kids 14 to 24. So we got kids that would be out of school, adults that would be out of school, and even older than that can come back and access the Bureau of Workforce Development in our district in that office. So we wanted to have a secured entrance, have a reception area. It has a couple of office spaces. It has a small computer lab. It has a small conference room. We'll share the main conference room with the high school. That's the purple area here. Okay, so somewhere out here, there'll be a secured entrance. This is the east doors that spill out into the driveway. This is the main entrance to the high school. We'll make and change this particular area so we have associate principal, assistant principal office, and principals, and you currently would have to go through one office to get to the principal. So there's some reconfiguration here that will be part of that renovation. And that's it, in a nutshell. I hope that I didn't take too much time with that. But Evan and Chris and the team from VSWC last year really did a tremendous job working with us to put together these concept drawings and things. I think it made our grant something that was possible with OFCC. And we're excited at the opportunity. We're excited that Morgan Miller is with us as well. She's been a part of every meeting that we've had as it relates to our planning and our partnership. So she speaks for Children's and she's here representing children. So without further ado.
Any questions for?
Before we move on, what was presented?
That was a lot of stuff. We started with one grant, went to this grant, which happened to be a perfect fit for us, and people stepped up, the partnerships got strong, and we're excited.
John, I do know if you can go to the health clinic.
Yeah.
I think last time we talked about possibly adding a second secure door. Right, up the other way. They're right there. Come up past the teacher's lounge door there. Somewhere in that, so it would be more of a two-step security. Yes.
From here to here?
Yeah, remember Luke talking about that? Possibly added a second door there. Just
Yeah.
we did talk about so there wasn't from the teacher's lounge and the main hallway. You know, it was just a one-shot security door to get into the new health center.
Right.
We were hoping to establish a second security door
Could be up here?
somewhere right there.
Okay. Yep.
I think that was the only, I think from the board, talking about safety and security, because that is our goal, to be safe for our kids, and in case there wasn't an issue, there was at least a two-step security door for them to go through.
Gotcha.
That would be, I think, the only thing. Thank you for talking about adding, I think that was the other big thing at the high school, having that different entrance for the workforce.
Yep.
So I think
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Really
Was there a door there at one time? Do we know?
Not since
Are
1987.
you sure?
I'm sure.
I was there with you, but
Not since
he was my principal when I was in high school. So,
But anyway, I mean, Evan and Chris are here, and that's our listening ears, so they're taking copious notes. Okay.
Turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'll just say a couple words, just real quick, for those of you who don't know us. We're VSWC Architects. I'm Chris Stumford. I'm president of the firm right now. We're have a 70-year history designing schools throughout Ohio, so mainly what we do is K-12 schools. We have done several student-based health centers associated with different school districts, so we've done several of these and always very excited to be a part of these. Just really great addition when we're able to add these to the school districts. Just real exciting projects. Evan is one of our partners and is the project manager here, and he's going to walk through what we have today, which is we've taken the plans just a little bit further. We've got a little bit more information, so some minor differences, but mainly they are where they are. And so Evan will kind of walk through, and we're here to listen, to get feedback on the process. And the only other thing I'll say is that I have to leave just a little bit after 5. Evan will stay as long as they need to, but if you see me kind of swirl out at a little after 5, just ignore me, and Evan will stay here as long as we need to after that. Evan?
So we see this project being kind of 3 projects, and I want to kind of hit this at a high level. So kind of the schedule moving forward, we have this meeting scheduled, and we have another meeting on 11/13 scheduled. At that point, we're kind of looking at the schematic design right now, looking at the design development at that point, at which point we would roll in straight through to construction documents so that we can get it out for permit and for bid with a third meeting, if necessary, tentatively scheduled in December. The project schedule, though, we are looking to bid this the second week of January, so we're kind of on a tight time frame to get everything done, with construction starting in or around March of 2025. So, as I mentioned, we kind of see this as three projects, the clinic being one, the OhioMeansJobs suite refresh being a second one, and the general office refresh being a third one. I'm going to talk about them in that order. So here on the packet in front of you, this is the existing conditions as we currently have it for the clinic, which is, I believe, being used as a storage room and a classroom. Is that correct, John?
Yep.
Okay. So in that space, we plan on removing the wall, splitting up the two units. Plan on getting rid of the platform that is in there. Luke, do you know, is that a wood platform?
I think it's 2x6s.
Okay.
I don't 90% sure it's not concrete.
Okay. We have a door on the side that we are going to remove and infill, and then we will add a new door in the curtain wall framing on the front, as you saw in the renderings, which we'll go over that as well here shortly. And then we'll do a little bit of site work out front to create a sidewalk and curb and ADA access to the space. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving on. Next page shows the same plan that John had up on the screen. I don't think anything's changed on this one in particular. Again, the intent is that you come into the lobby. You would have to be buzzed into the school from via an phone that connects to the receptionist desk at the middle school office, not the reception desk here at the clinic. We have 3 exam rooms, the office break swing room, a lab, restroom, janitor's closet, intake, and reception. This was all developed with Cincinnati Children's involved. What was that, last year? And so I'd like
A lot of eyes from Children's were on this.
Yes, yes.
A lot of doctors and facilities people along with Morgan.
Yeah. And so with the remaining space, we have a teacher's lounge that can be kind of carved out of that existing classroom space. So I'd like to take a look. The program information that we got for the clinic requirements for each exam room, a sink, an exam table, seating, and a coat rack. Does that sound adequate?
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
For children's, and the size, the square footage of the rooms is
Good. For the intake, vital machines, those will be provided by Cincinnati Children's.
correct.
Scales, stadiometer, hearing screener, vision screener, all provided by Cincinnati Children's. Is there anything else needed?
Not that I can tell. We may need storage just for any PPE. Are there any cabinets that can be in this intake area?
There are not currently, but we could definitely add them in.
Yeah, if that's added, I think that would be great.
Will you be secured cabinetry in case you have medications in there?
We wouldn't store medications in a cabinet like that, only PPE, so it doesn't necessarily need to be secure.
But we could throw locks on cabinets for minimal.
So then just related, would we need any kind of security cameras in this area?
Not from a children's.
I would think we would probably want to. Do you have security cameras in the middle school now?
Daniel, will speak to that.
Yeah, we have a lot of security cameras. There are some on the exterior on that corner, going
Okay.
both directions. There's nothing interior.
I would think we would add 1, maybe 2 in this area, specifically in the lobby, maybe in that corridor, just to make sure.
So can you work that into the bid?
Yes. Yep. And then if you could get us sizes on that equipment, so we can make sure we.
And it's not really our PPE. There'll be yellow gowns that are stored in that area. I mean, it's more so in bags, so it's not anything.
Sorry, I meant the stadiometer.
Oh, yes,
screener.
yes. Yep, I'll get measurements.
Thank you.
Do some of those need power?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Any specific power requirements, or are they all?
No specific power requirements, but I'll double check my documents to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Thank you.
Any kind of refrigeration needed?
That is part of it. In exam room 3, we have a freezer and refrigerator.
Thank you.
That it will be lockable for vaccinations and medication. And then in the lab space, we have counter, sink, storage, lock storage, refrigerator, freezer, which, as I said, was relocated to the exam room. Does that all sound good? Okay. So, kind of high level, what we want to accomplish here is just make sure that everybody is on board with the overall design. We can kind of get into the weeds at the next meeting, but at a high level, is everybody good with this?
How about adding that door, Todd?
So we can add that door. I want to understand what the intent is around that door.
We just feel that a second secure door in place. So if someone would come through this door here, at least you have a second secure door to prevent anybody from coming from the lobby down this long hallway, going through one door, and then there's not a second door. And then once they get through that second door, these are just regular doors.
So, are you
Can't hold the door open.
Are you thinking the both doors would be access controlled?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it makes sense to me because if our plan is still to see community patients, it creates great limitations for the community from being able to interact or get close to that area. One question I do have is the intent of that janitorial closet, because as I'm thinking through the clinical workflow, and we can certainly work around this piece, I want to make sure that there's space reserved for biohazard. So for us, that'll be after we give any vaccines or shots and we dispose of those needles. We typically take all of our old bins and move them to a biohazard room. Can we use the janitorial closet for that, or is that intended for something else? And if we can use the janitorial closet, does that typically meet the pressure and negative air requirements of a biohazard room?
We can make it meet the negative pressure requirements.
Okay.
But,
Was it intended for something else?
It was intended just to have a place for a garbage can, mop sink,
Okay.
typical
Janitorial supplies.
What I think we could do though is probably split that room in half and make the front kind of a closet and put a door off of the intake to access the janitorial, or even flip that, do the janitorial off the corridor and the biohazard off the intake.
how big of a biohazard room do you need?
It doesn't have to be big, so if we divide this area up, that should be fine. I can check into what exact square footages we use currently. We've converted really small closets to biohazard, and this shared model we use in a lot of our locations where it's a shared janitorial area / biohazard. As long as the air pressure is negative and we can appropriately store there, then it should be fine. So if you guys wanted to divide this room in half or even give us 1/3, that should suffice. Because the bin, I can't remember the size of the bin, I'll have to go back and check, but it's about the size of your standard home trash can that we keep everything in, so we don't need much room.
So is that all it is? Just essentially a biohazard bin?
Yes, and then there are small bins about probably the size of this sheet of paper, where sometimes we put sharps or things for our Stericycle or our third-party contractor to come and pick up those things and take them off-site for sterile processing. So as long as we have a cabinet, or a shelf to hold those on, then that should be fine.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is they don't need to split that janitorial room.
Yeah, my only concern is who is using the janitorial closet. Is it,
From the CCHMC standpoint,
well, is it the staff of CC?
Who's gonna clean the space?
Yeah.
So is it,
children's.
Okay.
so
And
if you're okay with sharing that with whoever's gonna go in there to use the mop sink, and
Yeah.
then we can make one room. My only concern would be if the school's janitorial staff's gonna go in there and you have,
Right.
It's that.
okay,
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, we prefer that.
That was our conversation.
okay. So if that's the case, are you okay with just leaving it as is and having the mop sink in the back of the room, and
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
we'll just maybe give a shelf for the biohazard someplace?
Yeah,
Okay.
And then you'll make it negative pressure?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, absolutely, perfect.
Okay, great.
And then outside of the space, as I mentioned, we'll have a door on the front. We'll have a canopy, in which you can see in the rendering on the next page, with a canopy over top just to keep everybody dry. Reusing the existing curtain wall and then kind of rebranding it so that it is easily visible of what the space is.
Is it too granular yet? Like, do you need to show phone drop in the reception area, or is that next meeting, or
We will have that. We'll place it.
internet drops?
Yep.
Okay.
But we'll cover that at the next meeting.
Does that be the next meeting? And it was new learning for me. You said so. A community member goes to the main door at the health center. They're going to buzz in, but the secretary over here is going to let them in.
Well, so at the main door, the way I envision it is they will be able to get into the lobby of the health center. They will not be able to get past the door of the hallway without being buzzed in by the receptionist at the
Gotcha.
middle school
So,
office.
so if you're a community member, you just come on in.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's fine.
Unless you want it to be the other way. If
The
you-
way we'll set it up, we will put access control on both those doors,
Okay.
so then it can be programmed the way you want it to be. But yes,
Got it.
normally we would envision that front door to the lobby to be open so that the high school kids can come in or the community.
Yep.
But if you wanted it to set up so, no, that's locked and you have, the person in here has to buzz them in, well, it'll have the functionality that you can do.
I think as long as the receptionist for children is comfortable with it being an open room, we're good. But yeah, on the other end, I'm
That's
with
why
you.
we have it.
Yes, I'm with you. All right. Yep.
Can I ask a really silly question? In the lab area, I assume the two sinks, one is a clean sink, one is a dirty sink. What
Right.
does this represent in the middle? Is this just a cabinet for us to store our lab supplies? Okay.
Under counter storage and/or a small refrigerator if
Okay.
necessary.
And then a question that I know our IS folks would want me to ask is, where is the closest IS control room for everything that they may need to hook up or anything that they may need to connect?
I don't know that answer.
Network switch, is that what you're looking
Yeah.
for? It's literally one across the wall there.
Okay.
The main corridor, that little room.
To the
next to
north?
it. Yes,
Okay.
right on the other side of that wall. It's where we moved it from. It used to be in there.
Okay. That was that rack that was
Correct.
where the mop sink is?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, short run.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Okay, perfect.
All right. We can move on to the OhioMeansJobs suite.
Can I ask one last question?
Absolutely.
Apologies. So as far as the branding goes with the labeling of the school-based health center, is that something that you guys would do, or is that something that you guys need us to partner?
We can work on that with you.
Okay.
We just wanted to throw something on there for the grant.
Okay,
So
perfect.
what is on there is not set in stone by any means.
Okay,
We envision that being the graphic film, that's the perforated film.
These walls.
Yeah, exactly, and so you can get whatever you want printed on it, so, but yeah, we threw something on here for the rendering, but definitely would want to work with whoever has a stake in that. And we have a graphic designer in-house that we can help lay it out, or if you have somebody that you want to take the lead on that, we're happy, but we'll get the material and the job, and then it's just a matter of providing the graphic.
awesome, thank you.
And that's actually the same thing, like here, we may have something specific
Okay.
for signage inside.
So what I will say to the new Bridgman team is, you guys doing the signage that works for us, we can partner with that. If it becomes a matter of cost and you guys are near your funds, let us know. We also have a designer, Kolar, and we can absorb the cost of that if
Awesome. Thanks. Good. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the OhioMeansJobs office. As discussed earlier, we're showing a location for a new door into that exterior wall that is right there next to the driveway coming in between the two buildings. So that will be a secured door directly into this office, which will now be a larger lobby. We'll be removing that door shown, or the wall and door shown dashed to create space for that large lobby.
Is that sidewalk still flat right there, do you know? I'm sure you do.
Not flat, but
I mean, is it sloped?
it slopes slightly, yes. So we will have to take out some of that concrete, probably about to the edge of the building, to get it to slope up to where we need it for ADA access. So moving on to the next plan. So you can see the changes that we made from the original one to this. As I mentioned, there is that larger lobby with the receptionist to have people from either outside or in the office or in the building to come in. 3 offices, they will all get new carpet, new base, and new paint. A new small conference room. We will be adding some wall that is there on kind of the right side between the top office and the small conference room, and a new door. And then the larger conference room will also get new carpet, new base, and new paint.
We may sacrifice the 3rd office for a computer lab, which would mean only that you need 4 walls.
Okay.
New carpet and new paint.
Okay.
So which one? This one up here?
This one up here, yeah.
And then, so you would just leave it open to the conference room?
I think that separating that makes sense.
Okay. Would you want a door, still have a door between it?
Yes,
Okay, so all that remains, you just wouldn't have an office in there.
right.
Okay. And that would be a computer lab for what? For this?
For OhioMeansJobs.
Okay. When will we know that?
Right now?
So that is what you want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the top one, John?
Yep.
And again, kind of getting into the weeds, but what do you need for that? Is it one computer? Is it as many as we can fit?
It's probably gonna be 6.
Okay.
That's probably all that space will contain.
Okay.
We want to put what's comfortable.
Yeah.
And they'll just be kind of single
Yep.
units? Do they privacy screens or?
Nope,
Okay.
just wall units, tabletop,
Okay.
nothing special.
Okay. Any questions on this portion?
Are you okay with the reconfiguration of the lobby there and accommodate the door from the outside?
Yeah, I think it was really good.
How
Todd, you like that?
how do we want this door to the building to work? Is that going to be locked all the time?
Should be,
Okay.
should be controlled access.
Access controlled?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want that door to have glass in it so the,
Yes,
I believe it does already have glass in it.
Now,
Doesn't
I'm gonna
exist yet.
throw this out there.
Oh, sorry, the outside door. I was talking the door to the school building.
Yeah, that door going out in that corridor.
Yeah.
That's the same situation we're in over at the middle school.
Yeah, you're going to want access control on that.
No, I'm talking about another set of doors in that corridor or something. I don't know. You've got one, when you come in from the outside, you're in that lobby, that yellow lobby.
Correct.
You got one door and you're in the school.
Right.
Does it need to be?
That's the same thing that like you were
Does
talking
that
about
door
over
need to
there.
be there?
Yeah, do they even need that door for egress?
I think you need, kids are gonna access OhioMeansJobs.
Our kids are.
Along with others. Our high school kids are gonna access this office as well to see counselors and
Got it.
so on. I'm much less concerned, I'm much less concerned about people entering, and then they're gonna have to get past a person to get into the hallway.
And through another door. The door, right?
And then cars will be waiting for them.
I'll take care.
we can set that door up to where it's locked from the lobby side and that the receptionist has to buzz the person in.
Maybe it's an alternative, just put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it doesn't give you a lot more security, just it prevents the person just
Yeah.
from storming in like, oh, I'm just, or,
Right.
slow them down a little bit.
So
Yeah.
that would be an access control door there.
Yeah, right there in that lobby area.
So the exterior door, do you want that to function access controlled as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you got that door there.
Okay, anything on,
Just clarification, the conference room then, that's a restructuring of that current space. That space isn't that big right now,
which one?
the main conference room.
That is the same conference room.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a slightly different layout that you had last time I was in it.
Yeah. Maybe that's it, because it's like V-shaped
Yeah.
tables and it's, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
that has not changed.
wonderful.
Okay. All right, moving on to the other portion.
There are 5 people in there. 6 is somebody standing.
So this one I want to look at a little differently. We'll look at the right, kind of moving left. That is off, kind of hanging off the page is your vestibule, and then you come into the lobby. We're planning on removing that casework, the reception desk when you first walk in.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll do something a little nicer. There is some existing technology along this, I guess, west wall, the plan east wall. As you can see, we have it shown in that picture down below. There are a few things we can work out later, but ideally we would like to potentially get some casework in there, but I don't know. There's a lot of boxes that will need to be moved or consolidated. Is that something you guys want to?
So the fundamental question here is like along that wall, you got technology, you've got looks like a PA system, you've got access control, security, all that stuff along there.
Fire alarm.
Fire alarm, yeah.
They've almost got a lot of wires.
So, does the district want to try to consolidate, move, clean that up in order to get more storage along that wall? Or are we hands off, leave the stuff there and work around?
I see that being costly to move all that stuff. That stuff's been there since that high school was built back in '67.
I know that top box we've talked about before, haven't we moved? It was
Yeah,
so loud.
yeah.
It was a lot of money because they were gonna put it over that office across the hallway.
Is there any way to frame around it and hide it? Like
Maybe
turn
so.
it into a closet?
Probably not without taking out a third of the room. We think that there's some things that we can do to clean it up a little bit, and maybe get still get a piece of cabinetry like under the TV in there and get a little bit. But our original thought was to put like storage all along that wall. But the more we're looking at it, the more like you said, I think if you were at the stage where, hey, a lot of the stuff's bad, we're going to dump a bunch of money in it anyway, we'd have the conversation. But if it's all working and it's there, I think probably it's not going to be worth redoing it all.
That's not our plan right now.
Okay, all right.
To reroute that.
That helps us just understand how to move forward.
Okay. And then kind of moving over to the left, this is the associate principal and principal's office. We are planning on reconfiguring this somehow. However, the more we've dug into this, we've realized that the current openings are not ADA accessible and all the walls are blocked. So we're going to need to figure out and do a little magic here to make that work. But the way we currently have it configured will not work. So we'll have to adjust that.
I just throw a question out. Connors, do you guys seriously use the vault that much? For
Actually, yeah.
do you? I just wondered.
Most of it's storage, I'll be honest with you. We have our graduation stuff in there, but that's where we keep all of the athletic monies, tickets, kind of all that stuff. It's really just a cabinet that we use. Majority of the rest of it, we don't use all of that, let me say that.
I was just thinking, we had to convert our vault into an AP office probably 7 years ago. And the only thing that's in there that is a big old safe about the size of that podium.
That's what we have over in the middle school, to be honest with you.
I was just thinking about that space.
That might be something to look at. We can downsize that safe area as well.
Does don't have the big vault door on still?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So I was just thinking, you know, if
Big
it's that the
crate.
case, can we get a
Like a
Something
sub-
different.
$3,000-$4,000 big old fireproof safe and put your that's what we do for our athletics.
Yep.
You know, so not to throw a wrench into that space, but
Yeah,
do you
about 2
really
shells are used.
do you really utilize that space, and could that space be figure out? But
Good thing.
it's not my building, so I'm sorry.
Evan, how big a challenge is it gonna be with the doors?
We don't think it's going to be a major challenge. You can see my sketch on here. We're probably going to have to reconfigure this little corner here to get a bigger door in that new door. The way that the code works is anything new we do, we're going to have to comply with the new code. But since the rest of these offices are really just getting, refresh, we shouldn't have to bring them all up to code. So we're adding a new door in the associate principal's office, so that door will be accessible. The principal one, we're gonna have to reconfigure. We were hoping to just flip the door around, but it's not big enough, so, and the chase that's shown in there isn't quite in the right place since we found, but, so it's just a little bit more work in that corner, but I don't think it's a big deal. There is a question about the cabinetry in the clinic. We were thinking of replacing that cabinetry, but the clinic door is also not accessible. That gets into a little bit of gray area. If we're upgrading the cabinetry in there, then do we need to upgrade the door? I think probably the answer is no, but if you want the cabinetry replaced, I think we proceed with that and see if the building official, the plan reviewer has an issue with it. But the upgrading in the handicap area is, it's a little funny in the building code. In a remodeling, you have to, there's certain minimum standards the building has to meet, or you have to spend at least 20% of the money on the remodeling towards handicap upgrades. But I think we meet that threshold because, like, each door we're putting in is an upgrade. The counter that we're replacing is an upgrade because we're adding accessibility to that. So I think there's ways around it. I don't think it's a big deal, but it's just a piece of information.
Don't think it's a big deal. Write that down.
It's a technical.
Okay, so looking at the kind of reception office, you can see the new casework we're proposing with kind of a banker's gate to the back area. That would be a new countertop with base cabinets underneath for storage. As we discussed, we were showing kind of some casework here on the right side. I think that's going to change. We might be able to get some in there. On the original plan, we had shown casework along this exterior wall. There's existing HVAC in there, or at least it's existing heating. Believe, Luke, is that active?
Along the exterior wall?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so nothing's going in there. However, we are now showing some here on the left side below that TV monitor. So a couple small tweaks and we can get some base cabinets in there for storage and additional counter space as well. You can also see up at the top, I have a new wall graphic. In that existing block wall, there is a trophy case in there. I'm planning on getting rid of it and refreshing that. You can see it in the next rendering, kind of showing what that would look like. You want to stick with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Chris just talked about the clinic. Do we want to proceed with replacing that casework in there as well? Or leave as is?
It's, that's an old sink and everything, I would say yes. Because it's old.
And I believe that is at like 42 inches high. It'll go in at 34 inches. to meet ADA standards.
Someone who's only 50 inches, that works for me.
I think until we start getting some real numbers, it's gonna be, because we're gonna say yes.
Yes.
Yes, approve, yes, approve, yes, approve, but we can't go over our budget on this. And so that's really gonna help frame some of our discussions once we go out to bid.
Okay, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit when we're done here, kind of how we can plan on that. So, as we talked, we're gonna have to reconfigure that door. No work in the safe, other than now we're potentially looking at maybe changing it, but.
If we need the space, I think that's good, that's so antiquated.
What will we use the space for?
I thought you said you were short on space there.
Only to get that door in, but where that door to the principal's office is, I don't, oh, never mind, I see what you're saying. But you're talking about the door into the clinic where we don't have enough space?
Yeah.
Is that closet being used?
Closet is HVAC.
Yeah.
Okay, so we probably can't do much there. Okay, so yeah, I don't see a huge benefit in that vault, in changing anything with that vault.
Okay, so there's no value added.
No, not that I see right now. That may change, but
Right, so just know it could be a swing space for us then.
okay. And then, again, Chris mentioned we're planning on a new door and wall, kind of infilling that existing opening into the associate principal's office so that we can have access into all those offices there. All 4 of the offices, though, will get new carpet, new base, new paint. The clinic will not get new carpet; it will get new tile. That is incorrect on my part, but new base and new paint as well. And then the reception office would get new carpet, new base, and new paint.
Nice.
Any questions on this?
Nice.
At the reception desk, we're kind of showing 2 workspaces there. Would that be correct? Would you need, is that the right number of workspaces?
Typically have to.
Yeah, because we have the nurse, secretary that was back here, the principal secretary, and then Denise, the attendant secretary, would sit at the front.
Okay.
So you need 2 or 3?
3.
3 total, or 3 at that?
You only need 2 on the counter.
Oh, yeah.
So we're currently showing 4 spaces in that.
That's
Yeah.
plenty. That's plenty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that underneath of that counter, we would, and we'll show this next time, but we would propose to have like 2 open knee spaces where they're working, and we would put cabinets and the rest for storage. So if you needed 4 spaces along there, we just need to know that we have, but 2's fine. Okay.
Okay. Anything else on this? Okay. So you had mentioned, that's all I have as far as the plans. You had mentioned the budget. I do want to talk about that quickly. Our plans, and again, I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but I'm thinking we are bidding this out, GC, so public bid. The base bid would be the clinic. The OhioMeansJobs suite would be an alternate, and then the office refresh would be an alternate. And then that way, if we come in under budget and we're good, we can add to it. But if either of those are over, we have to rebid. So it's just kind of a little bit of finagling to get it where we want. And that way we can kind of take the less required pieces out and really get what we need.
Would you anticipate multiple companies bidding on all 3 projects, or will they really piecemeal it?
It will be all one project. So I don't see why they would not bid the alternates. And the contractors, we have a list of contractors that we plan on using, and they're good contractors we've had plenty of projects with. I don't foresee a situation where they would do something like that.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't.
Same question I have. Like somebody going bid on the base, but not the alternates.
Yeah.
Well, if
Because then they got to talk to each other,
Yeah.
and then they get the busy match.
yeah, if we did it as different bid packages, that could happen. But because we're bidding it as an alternate, I don't think that can.
It's just multiple contractors working in such close confined spaces, in my previous experience, creates problems. Right.
Yeah, I don't, the only reason why we would do that is if we thought that there would be different types of contractors that might be interested in the 2, but they're I mean, you got a little bit more new construction in the clinic and a little more remodeling, but it's all the same kind of stuff.
Makes
and
sense.
and it's even in total, it's small enough to where it's in the wheelhouse of a lot of small contractors.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And we did go back over the budget, and we think that the budget should support the whole project. Things are a little crazy now. They're not nearly as crazy as they were about a year and a half ago, but so things have calmed down. But it still is very hard to predict on any particular project how the bids are going to come in. So, like Evan said, we'll try to include alternates, and there may be some other alternates we come up with, like like casework in the clinic, for instance. We could throw that in as an alternate, and you don't want to do too many, but it's easy to throw a few of them in, and we want to make sure it's a go project and not be over budget from the beginning and then have to retool.
Can I ask a question? So, is there a period that you guys want any feedback or any changes? I know that'll change throughout this process, but I've worked on enough projects to know that, sometimes it's not always an open period for changes.
Yes, we've got 10 minutes. Yeah, we're moving forward at pretty fast rate so that we can get the drawings done at the end of the year, get it out the bid. So our plan is to come to the next meeting and show like all the cabinetry on the interior, how all that is laying out, get the feedback from that. And then really we're looking for, at that meeting or shortly thereafter, to get any changes, any feedback, all the utility information for the equipment so that we can finish the drawings. We basically, after that, we're going to have to take a few weeks to get it done.
Next meeting is the 13th.
Okay, November 13th. So just 2 pieces of feedback I'll add right now, or maybe 3. If that negative pressure room going back to clinic, I don't know if that'll be controlled access, but if it could be controlled access, just to make sure none of the kiddos can have access to that.
Electronic access control?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, obviously with New Richmond's approval, once after it comes in budget. And then, the other piece that we really haven't talked about on the New Richmond side is it's typical for us to have phones in the exam room should something happen or there be an emergency. I don't know if that's something that you guys are open to, but that's just to let you guys know something that we would ask for if they can accommodate it. So in the next drawings, if I could get some perspective on where all the outlets would be, I want to run that by our IS team to make sure that we have all the appropriate outlets for everything.
Can you get a list of all the things that you would want?
Absolutely.
And then, do you have, you've done a number of these.
Yeah.
Are they typical of the size and kind of the setup of the casework?
Yeah, so you mean just the
well, specifically the exam room.
yes.
Do you have kind of a standard?
Yes, we have a standard list of our exam rooms and how they're set up. You want me to send you that?
If you could, yes.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of showing this based on other ones we've done. If you have something that you prefer, you want to be the same,
Yep.
we'd like to match that.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great question, so I'll send that to you. And then obviously, we have our definitely need list and then our love to have. So from a budgetary standpoint, anything that we need to value engineer out or reduce the cost of, or just take out of the project in general, just let me know, and I'll try to break it up into what we need for clinic versus what's nice to have. So New Richmond knows those nice things to be taken.
And you say you would like to have a phone in each of the exam rooms?
Yes, so ideally it's installed on the wall, and really the purpose is if a medical provider needs to call up front while they're seeing the patient, but especially in cases where we need to call 911 or there's a medical emergency, the patient starts seizing, right, God forbid, or something like that happens, we want quick access to the phone.
Do you need separate phone numbers for each of those drops? Maybe my thinking is antiquated. Some about school systems have a finite number of telephone lines. And you just can't add phones everywhere. Like, I don't know where we're at with reaching our capacity of phone lines.
Yeah, our system is kind of antiquated. I'd have to talk to Dennis, our
Okay.
phone guy, and see
It
what
seems-
he can add. Yeah,
Because right now, we know there's one drop there.
Correct.
In the technology space.
Yeah.
So that's, let's say that's reception, but we'd like to have 3 more.
But would children's want their own phone number?
So what we typically do at our school-based health centers is we have our own designated phone number, but it's through the school. So it would be something
Oh, okay.
that's attached to your phone number. So say if you guys are 363, so we would have a 363 number, but it just goes to the school-based health center.
They probably
Now,
have to add an extension.
extension. Well, that already has one extension.
if it's not possible, or if we need to take it out, let me know, and I can try to get emergency
I see the
portable
need.
phones.
Yeah, I see
for
the
our
need.
team. Yeah.
I just, our system is very antiquated.
Okay.
I don't know where we are
Okay.
with
Our
ours.
phone system's not good.
Exactly.
Our phone system's ancient. Yeah, it's just old Mitel things. We could talk to Dennis.
Okay.
Probably, but I don't want to say for sure.
Ben, is that something you?
Can you turn that
could
around quickly?
I can reach out to him tomorrow, sure.
Just, yeah, just,
He's out here now. But I mean,
we'll get
Yeah,
I've got one
any
right
information
there.
you can provide sooner the better, that'll help us.
Yeah, actually, it's just
Yeah, this is great.
Chris, thank you guys so much.
No problem.
Very, great meeting.
We look forward to working with you on this. Can't wait till the next one.
Right, well,
Taking it back together anytime.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Chris.